Did you go to a marketplace recently and notice, man, that boat's a really good deal, and then you read the description and it says block cracked or leaking water into bilge, don't know where it's coming from? Chances are it's going to need an engine one way or another. You hop on MerCruiser side, you hop on marketplace, you go, let me find a used boat engine, because these are import outboards. You look at the price and you go, absolutely the hell not. Who's going to pay $2,000 to $4,000 for a 4.3? Well, I did my own experiment. I have a 2000 Blazer ZR2, and I pulled the motor out of that. I hopped on Marketplace and found a 1988 Renken 2000 classic 20-foot bow rider. I picked that boat up for $350. It had all the original parts in it. It had already been disassembled though. I took all the accessory out drives and I bolted them to the 4.3 Vortec that I pulled out of my little Blazer. Mind you, it had 230,000 miles on it when I pulled the engine. It wasn't smoking. It had a couple oil leaks, which I sealed up. New oil pan gasket and a timing cover gasket and a front main seal. New valve cover gaskets. I put a carbureted marine intake on it and a 2-barrel carburetor, marine carb. I did not swap the cams. I didn't do anything special here. Quite literally threw that motor in there. I fired it up and I took it on the lake for the first time, and it'll pull 45 miles an hour. And we usually cruise between 15 and 20 minutes before we end up finding our spot, like a little swim hole or something, or if we're gonna go tubing, you know, we'll switch out to a bigger boat. But zero issues. Now, if you get on the forums and you go checking around, or you get on any one of the many Facebook pages for MerCruiser parts, they'll tell you got to worry about reversion, which is valve overlap, and it's based on your cam timing here, your LSA, lobe separation angle. Basically, in a nutshell, what happens is, as a cam spins around, you know, it opens and closes your intake and your exhaust valve at a set time. Well, on a car, what happens is the exhaust valve opens, it pushes the piston up, it pushes the gas out. Well, before the valve closes all the way, the piston's already on its way down and sucks in a little bit of that exhaust. On a boat, you don't want that because you have what's called a wet exhaust system. If you suck in a little bit of that exhaust on a boat, it's already mixed with water, because right after the risers is where the water mixes into the exhaust stream, number one, to cool it down before it exits and doesn't burn up all the bellows and burn up the O-ring that separates the Y pipe on a 4.3 MerCruiser when it exits and goes to the bellow. It mixes with water, and if you could imagine, every time it pushes that exhaust out and then the piston's on its way back down, that water's mixing with the exhaust, it'll suck it back in. You can hydrolock an engine, you could rust some valves, you can do a lot of damage. Well, I didn't change the cam to the marine cam. I just threw it in there and I ran it at idle, and I let it idle and idle on muffs and in the lake. I pulled the exhaust manifolds right off, took a look inside of them, and dry. Now I understand maybe with a bigger, choppier cam, you're probably gonna have a worse issue, especially as you get towards 305, 350, and 454 MerCruisers. But from my experience so far, I've had zero issue. So if you find a good deal on Marketplace, and it's got a 3-liter MerCruiser with a cracked block, go find you a 2.5 liter out of an old 80s, early 90s model S10. It's the same exact block, just a different crank and rods and whatnot. But half a liter different displacement, it'll still get you out on the water. 4.3s, pick any year. Slap it on in there. You're gonna have to make some fine-tuning adjustments here and there. 305s, 350s, 454s, they all bolt in. Just make sure that your outdrive can handle the extra pressure if you decide to go, you know, bigger than what the original engine was in there. But that's my assessment of the whole situation. I hope that puts some of this don't put a car engine into a boat argument. I hope it kind of puts some of that to rest. Tell me what you think. Comment down below. Tell me if you've done any swaps like that, or if you've had a bad experience doing something like that.